Hi everyone, I'm Ian. When you think about a video game, you end up thinking about a lot of things. The story, art style, whatever it may be, you inevitably end up thinking about the main character. And a lot of the time, those main characters end up being more than just a character. They end up becoming the mascot for a series or even a whole company. So I'm going to rank some of the most popular and funniest of those characters.
Let's start off with some of the funny ones. LucasArts, a branch of Lucasfilm.
You know, the creators of American Graffiti.
But LucasArts created some amazing games. Monkey Island, Sam and Max, and various Star Wars games. Now you would think they would have maybe Guybrush Threepwood from Monkey Island, or maybe even Sam and or Max. But no, they didn't even choose someone from Star Wars. Instead, the mascot of LucasArts is Chuck the Plant. Why have a plant be your mascot? Why not someone a little cooler? LucasArts is a major corporation. You would think that they would have a mascot that's a little more human. It's like if Nintendo decided to make their mascot Dr. Ryuta Kawashima from Brain Age. Chuck the Plant is an easy D tier. When people talk about Rare, most of the time they think of Battletoads, Donkey Kong Country, Conker's Bad Fur Day, or most popularly, Banjo-Kazooie. But instead of any characters from those games, it's Mr. Pants, a puzzle game for the GBA, which only had one release. And he's the mascot for a game company. At least Mr. Pants is an actual main character, and not a plant. I'll put him at C tier. Over the years, Sony has had quite a few mascots. Previous mascots include Ratchet from Ratchet & Clank, Sackboy from Little Big Planet, Spyro the Dragon, and Crash Bandicoot. But there are two that are very odd. The first of which is Polygon Man. He was originally used at E3 1995 to quite poor reception. Various publications called him scary, which, yeah, he is. He was used in a few print advertisements after that, but was quickly taken away, only to appear 12 years later as the final boss in PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. C tier. There is another Sony mascot that doesn't make much sense, and that would be Astrobot. He was originally in the game Astrobot Rescue Mission for PS4 VR. He was later in the game Astro's Playroom, a game that came pre-installed on every PS5 as a tech demo for the DualSense controller. And somehow, he ended up becoming the mascot for Sony in the PS5. This feels kind of forced. The game wasn't very popular. Sure, it's a cool way to show off the new controller, but making Astrobot the mascot feels weird. C tier.
Well, those were weird. Let's move on to some cool ones.
Starting off with Xbox. The original Xbox had the mascot Blinks the Time Sweeper, which is an odd choice. It was received pretty good, but it would have made more sense to have maybe Raz from Psychonauts or the hero of Oakvale from Fable. Blinks the Time Sweeper is C tier. The Xbox 360 also had a mascot, Marcus Phoenix, and this is the first one that makes sense. Gears of War was a wildly popular game on the 360. So it makes sense that he would end up being the mascot for the 360. That being said, Gears of War kind of ended up losing popularity near the end of the 360's lifetime. Still, Marcus Phoenix was a good choice for a mascot. B tier. Now the Xbox One and Xbox Series X don't actually have a mascot, but Xbox Game Studios does. This doesn't come as a surprise, but it's Master Chief. Because of course it is. Master Chief was kind of a mascot for all of the Xboxes, but he was never a mascot for one single console. This is one that really makes sense. Halo was and is a massively popular game, so it's only natural that Master Chief ends up being the mascot for Xbox Game Studios. He's such a recognizable character. There's tons of merchandise with either his helmet or the Halo logo. Master Chief is an easy A tier. Sega has had some odd mascots. One of the first is Opa Opa, a ship from the arcade game Fantasy Zone. Given that Sega didn't have many games at the time, it makes sense that Opa Opa would become a mascot. Still, there's not much interesting about him. He's really just a ship. C tier. After Opa Opa, Sega had Alex Kidd as a mascot, and he's weird. The jumpsuit, the ears, something's just off. He was actually in quite a few games though, 7 to be exact, which is more than most of the mascots have been in. C tier. Finally is the mascot that makes the most sense. It's what Sega's most well known for. Sonic the Hedgehog. One of the best ways to have a recognizable character is to make them unique. And oh boy is Sonic unique. At this point, Sonic has been in a ton of games, not only his own, but other games as a cameo too. Even though the past few games have been okay, Sonic as a character is still cool. A tier. When talking about a game's mascot, there's one company that is always remembered, and that would be Nitro Plus. No, Nintendo. When it comes to good game mascots, Nintendo really does it best, and they've had so many. Mii's, Kirby, Pikachu, but most recognizably would have to be Mario. Sure, he is pretty basic. He's a guy in overalls, but that's what makes him such a good mascot. The amount of games that he's been in and styles is more than any other character. Of course, he's been in many platforming games, but he's also been in racing games. He's been an archaeologist, toy maker, an athlete. He's even been a doctor.
I don't trust him to have a medical license.
Still, Mario has become a huge icon, really becoming larger than Nintendo itself. Mario is very easily a high A tier.
Mascots are a great way to have a face for your game, show, company, or even movie. So if companies can have a mascot, I'm gonna have a mascot. And here he is, Carl. I love him.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking. Want to keep up with what I'm doing? Consider subscribing as it helps me out a lot. Have any suggestions for videos? Leave a comment.